Hello there, and my name is Michael Ortiz, and my speech is called A Man and His Ukulele. The main purpose of this speech is to inform the audience about the life, the rise to stardom, and tragic death of beloved musician Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim, real name Herbert Cowrie, was born in New York City on April 12, 1932. From a very early age, he displayed a talent for music and knew that he wanted to be a musician when he grew up. One of his favorite artists, Arthur Godfrey, had inspired the young Tim to pick up the ukulele as his instrument of choice. Now, Tim in his early life was not really that much of a sociable person, mostly seen as an outcast. Coupled with his musical ambitions, this caused him to drop out of high school his sophomore year in order to pursue his music career. From there, he began playing at various talent shows, although never placing. Then one day while he was jamming out to some of his favorite records, Tim realized that he could sing a lot higher than he normally could. This is when Tim discovered his iconic falsetto singing voice and duoed with his ukulele. Tim set out to the talent show and this time brought back second place. From here, Tim knew that he had to start performing around, so he had his debut show at the Lesbian Cabaret in the Greenwich Village called Plan 3. Now, this place was known as a gathering place for outsiders, so they accepted him with open arms. However, to the general public, they were not as open to Tim, and a lot of his shows would often end in ridicule. This did not dissuade Tim, though, as he kept at it, and by the time the 60s rolled around, he became a cult performer in the Greenwich Village, a status that would be very important because it would begin a snowball that would propel him to the top. And this snowball all started in 1968 with Tim's appearance in the film You Are What You Eat. This was a documentary documenting the 60s counterculture life, and Tim was heavily featured in it. Because of his appearance on that film, the up-and-coming talk show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In decided to have Tim on their debut episode, which he did a performance and they interviewed him and the audience loved it. They loved Tim and his weird mannerisms, his Victorian era way of speaking, the fact that he was a 6'1" tall man singing in a very high falsetto with a tiny ukulele. Audience had seen nothing like it. From then, he would be booked in that very same year on the Johnny Carson show, where he would perform and have an interview, and the audience would eat him up all over again. They loved him so much that Tim became a reoccurring guest and even got married on the show. From here, because we're not over yet, from his appearance on the Johnny Carson show, Tim got in contact with Frank Sinatra, the man himself, who had signed Tim to his record label, and then that very same year, still in 1968, Tim would release his debut record known as God Bless Tiny Tim. From this record, there would be a hit single known as Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and this song would go on to become number 17 in the top 20. So in 1 year, this man went from underground cult performer to bursting through the top 20s, one of the best music career glow-ups ever. And from there, he just kept on doing it and doing it, doing tours to many different countries, such as Australia, England, and New Zealand. He had a tenureship at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, played at the Royal Albert Hall in London. Man was on top of the world. However, when the 70s came in, Tim would still be a cultural icon. However, his star would never shine as bright as it did during that brief period of time in the late 60s. So he just lived a humble life and kept on performing. Had to stay on the Howard Stern show for a while, up until he kept on performing and then one day collapsed while performing in the mid-90s. This is when Tim was diagnosed with congenital heart failure, and they told him that his tour schedule was too taxing on him and that he needed to quit. To Tim, a life without music was just not a life worth living, so he kept at it. And on November 30th, 1996, at the Minneapolis Women's Club benefit where Tim would be performing his hit single Tiptoe Through the Tulips, he would suffer cardiac arrest and die. The man never gave up. He was one of the most unique musicians out there, and poetically, he died doing what he loved, performing the song that made him so famous. And that is the eccentric life and the pure uniqueness that stood out about one of the greatest musicians, Tiny Tim. Thank you very much.